Well, hello, hello, hello to my unstoppable lionesses. Welcome to the show. As you can see in front of you right now, we have quite a different show for you lined up for today, and I am very, very excited about it. You see Miss Dorothy over there. Miss Dorothy was kind enough to share her wisdom with us last week, and this week she brought friends. This week she brought friends, but I'm very, very excited because I always try to give you guys a wide variety of different nuggets and situations and fellow lionesses, sisterhood that you can tap into and understand that you are never, number one, never too young or never too old to pursue your dreams. Number one. Number two, and also the fact that even though we encounter so many different things in life, we are yet unstoppable because we are yet daughters of the King. So therefore, we just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and knowing that what has been put within us will come to pass. So I'm very, very excited today to introduce you to Ms. Maxine Wright. Miss Wright, she's got the right last name, okay? Because she's a right. Okay. So she is definitely flowing in her lane, but she has a new play coming out, and it is going to be in Marietta, Georgia, for you Georgian ladies and gentlemen. This is not just for the ladies. As you can see, you see Carson down there, right? But she has a new play coming out. I believe it is in July. And so we're very, very excited about it. We want her to tell you a little bit of her story and kind of tell you about the play and the gist of it. And in the interim, she also brought some friends. She brought cast members so they can share with you as well what is going on, how they feel about their parts in the play, just how they're tapping into the flow of who they were created to be. If we are stay in our lane, the sky is not the limit. There is no limit. So as long as you are flowing in what you were called to do, there is no impossibility. So Miss Maxine, welcome to Unstoppable Lionesses. I'm so honored to have you here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Actually, I am the founder of the production company Maxwell Productions, and I'm the writer and director of the Play Down Center. My company, Productions, we focus on using talents and for artists, performing artists to use their talents to gain experience and to have exposure. So even if you don't even if you have never been on stage before, we like to provide that opportunity for up and coming artists. That's what we do. And I'm just happy to do that. One person gave me an opportunity. I would have never thought I was a playwright. I would have never thought I would direct a play until someone pushed me out, gave me an opportunity. And so that's why I'm here today. And most of the time, we're our own worst critic because we're so focused on other people and what they do. We sometimes want to stay in the background because I was comfortable in the background,
Mhm,
very comfortable
mhm.
in the background. Until someone pushed me out there because I always compared myself to others, not knowing that God had also given me something to share. And so when I realized that, I stopped being afraid.
Mm,
Stop being afraid.
mhm,
I allowed fear for so long to keep me in the background,
mhm,
comparing myself to this person, to that person, when God said, no, you're
mhm,
your own distinct person. You are destined just like everyone else. I
mhm,
gave you something as well. So if we just can remember that we have something that He gave us, we can press forward with that.
mhm. Yes.
Because, like I said, the person who gave me that opportunity, I would have never done it, but she pushed me. God said, okay, I need to encourage her with someone else. And that's exactly what He did.
That's awesome. You know what? So awesome. I love your story. I really, really do. And the fact that you're paying it forward.
Yes, yes,
Somebody gave you an opportunity, so therefore you're giving others an opportunity. And that's what it's all about. It really, really is.
yes,
We experience so many different facets of life as we experience life. You know, I said actually last week when Dorothy was on the show, was like, I don't want to be 20 again. And bless you guys for your youth. Okay. But I would not want to have to walk through all the different things that I had to walk to get to where I am today again. That's what I mean. Now the body could be 20 again, and that would be okay. But just from life experiences, we experience life so that we can pay it forward.
Right.
We don't walk through things just to do it. You know what I'm saying? And when you learn that you are the best you that you could ever be, you were uniquely created, so you weren't meant to fit in. I say this all the time. You were made to be light. So you weren't made to fit in. Light does not fit in, light takes over.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Light takes over. When light comes into a dark room, darkness has to go because the light takes over. Mm-hmm. And we have to understand that about ourselves. And it is because of how we were uniquely knitted together and formed in God's image and in his likeness for his purpose and his destiny. We need to stop trying to be what everybody else says we should be and be what we were created to be. So I love that. Maxine, tell us who you brought with you today.
Okay, let me start off with my behind the scene cast. I have my stage manager, that's Teresa.
Okay, hi, Teresa.
I have my marketing team and inspiration consultants. That would be Miss Dorothy and Paula. Okay. And I have some of my cast. That is Tommy Elise, Carson, and Anthony.
Awesome. Love it.
Yes.
Well, so Paula, you're behind the scenes. Tell us what it's like to work with this great woman and her vision.
Phenomenal. First of all, thank you so much for having us. Miles Monroe has said the richest place on the planet is the cemetery because so many have gone to their graves not allowing those gifts and those talents, as Maxine was speaking about, to blossom and allowing that fear to keep them suppressed. And I think Joyce Myers once said, sometimes you just have to step out and do it afraid. So I'm really grateful for my friend. She's a walking testimony in stepping out, not being afraid, maybe in the beginning doing it afraid, but also stepping out on those gifts and talents, I call them being a grave robber, utilizing her gifts, utilizing her talents, allowing them to flourish in this particular production. I'm on board and excited and honored to be on board as her marketing and spiritual consultant, sharing who Maxine is and allowing the audience to get the opportunity to know who this woman is, what her vision is, the gifts and talents that she has within her, the power of this particular production, and why they need to come out and see it, because they will truly be blessed when they walk into the theater. They will not walk out the same. So I'm really honored to be along this journey as her marketing and spiritual consultant.
Awesome. Well, Carson, you're sitting there looking just so innocent and just demure, and tell us about yourself and tell us what your role is.
Sure. Hey everyone, my name is Carson Shearer. I'm an actor, and I've worked with Miss Maxine for a long time. I've done a lot of her productions. I've worked with her creatively for a while, and I love working with her. And in this particular production, I'm like, oh man, this is about to be really good. I really I play Chris in this play, and it's been a bit of a journey learning him and learning how he navigates through this story that Miss Maxine has put together for us. It's been great working with the cast and the crew. Everything's been pretty smooth, and I can't wait for you guys to see this.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about Chris. Is he your alter ego or is he totally different from you?
Alter ego is really interesting because it's almost like I have to kind of go back to when I was in high school and what I was feeling like probably around like senior year, and just thinking about the kind of mentality that like just the mentality that young Black men would usually have during this time, and the things that we can even fall prey to. Like, usually we're supposed to kind of focus, it's about time to get ready for college and everything like that. But there are a lot of pitfalls that you can easily step into. It's a lot easier than you think. So in this play, that's kind of what Chris finds out a little bit the hard way. Though he has a lot of support behind him, and he has a lot of people he can talk to, but it's a serious situation, and he learns a lot through that. So Chris essentially he goes through a bit of an evolution in here once he I was like, he is able to tap in, he's able to lock in spiritually, and not necessarily an alter ego, but definitely tapping back into that younger spirit.
And of course, you look like you're still in junior high school, and you're going tapping back.
Okay. It's awesome that I, look that way. Kind of age, and you know how it is.
That's awesome. Yes, I understand. Thank you. So, Teresa, I see you have your assistant on your shoulder. What's going on?
Yeah, she has to be on camera. I don't care what we doing. She's gonna keep bothering me until I pick her up, and then she'll go away for about a good 15 minutes. But I have to give her time. But hi, thank you for having us on here. I am Maxine's stage manager, and as she's talking about someone giving her a shot, I am that testimony that she's given me, and how she's paid it forward with me, because working with her, it encouraged me to do my own play. So and be a playwright and have it run in and go through all them headaches. But it's good headaches, put it like that. And just the one thing, she's just always encouraging everybody to be their best. So I definitely love that about her. But the play is amazing. It's always, everything she creates is always amazing. There was one part in there, I told her it triggered me because that's like one of those characters. That's like I had to put hands on her. But like, yeah, we had some bits of furniture. But I love it how they came all together and how that character really saw, her mistakes and made amends. So it was full circle.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And we're looking forward to seeing some of your plays as well. That's amazing.
Thank you.
That. All right, Tommy, it's your turn. So tell us who you are and a little bit of what you do in the play.
Okay. So my name is Tommy Campbell. I've been working with Miss Max honestly since I was born. I've been in the performing arts industry forever. So I've always been doing Christmas plays, Easter productions. This is the first production I have done with her outside of church. So I am so honored and so excited to be on the stage under her direction. And one thing I really love about her is she gives you a lot of room for creativity. Acting is creative, and yes, while you want to stay true to what the director envisions, we also like to have a little space to play and just breathe and do what you really need to do to sink into your character. So I really appreciate her for always just leaving that room for creativity while still knowing when to put her foot down. I love that about her. My character, Diane, she's an interesting one. She honestly is very insecure with herself. She doesn't really know exactly what's going on, but she's really just trying to put her finger on it so that she can kind of explain to herself and wrap her head around what has happened to her. And throughout this journey, she which is very, Can y'all hear me? My connection just went
Yeah,
out for a
you
second.
froze just for a moment, but you're good now.
Okay. But yeah, she fights and she makes up, and she deepens her connection with her mother, and I really do like that about her. She finds out different parts of herself and ways to grow as a person. So I like my character. It's definitely a challenge, but I do like my character. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's it.
That sounds exciting. Well, it sounds like you have been in training for a very long time to get to this place. So
Yes,
it's a
ma'am.
wonderful thing. It is, but and what you just said, that is the signs of a great director, because a director wants the character to be embraced, and when you can add some of you into it, then that helps the character to be fully developed, I guess.
Right.
So that's good. Awesome. Well, Miss Dorothy, what's
Ah.
up?
How are you today?
Awesome.
I too want to say thank you for having us on and allowing us this opportunity to expose Down Center, this powerful stage play that's written and directed by the incomparable Maxine Williams Wright. She is all of that and some, all right? So as you have heard, Down Center is more than just a production. It's going to be a movement under Maxine's visionary, her leadership. And this story is going to unfold with raw authenticity, okay? Raw. And it's going to be very, very good because it's family oriented. It's layered with emotion. So let's not get that mixed up here. And it's going to give you some bold truth. That's what this play is going to give you. And that's what I like about it, because her passion for storytelling and the community and transformation is at the heart of every scene that she's put into this play. Now, let's be clear. As you've heard them say, this is not Maxine's first production. Okay? It won't be her last production either. Her gift as a playwright continues to shine, and Down Center is a shining example of her ability to bring meaningful stories to life. And that's what we're seeing happening here, because this play is going to reach so many. It's going to reach relationship between spouse. It's going to reach relationship between children, the family. And it's going to reach relationships between peers. So I'm excited about seeing this play unfold and what Miss Maxine Williams Wright has done.
Right. All right. You know what, Maxine, with people like this around you, there really is no limit to what you can do. All right. That is awesome. Well, Anthony, tell us about yourself and your role in this production.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
We can.
Okay. We had a little technical difficulty where I had to change rooms. But my name is Anthony Brewer, and I'm playing Cedric in the play, along with my wife. Her name is Gwen in the play. This is my first time working with Miss Maxine. When she approached me with this role, and I actually read it, I was like, "Have you been in my house?" Where, literally, I read this guy, and I was like, "Wow, this is me." It's like she studied me, so I gotta check my house for mics and stuff like that, because this character is like spot on for me and my personality and whatnot. And I enjoyed reading about this guy, reading about this relationship that he has with his wife. It's a lot of what's happening, now. We get so wrapped up in life to where we forget to literally check in with each other as husband and wife. And I think this addresses that, and it hits it on the head. So I'm enjoying this character, and I can't wait to make it come to fruition on the stage. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Miss Maxine, for considering me for this. It's been a joy so and I can't wait for you to let me do my thing. It's amazing.
And you're great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's amazing when you just watch, and I'm sure for you, Maxine, you watch God put the pieces together and he knows exactly who to place where. And
Exactly.
that's an amazing thing. So, Maxine, share with us kind of the backdrop of the play, what inspired you to write it. And I know that it tackles some very difficult situations in life. So, how did some of the experiences that you've walked through in life play into writing this?
Well, let me first say this. This is the second time I am directing and putting on Down Center. I actually did it in 2014 inside the walls of the church.
Okay.
Okay. Let me tell you how the play got started. It wasn't me. At this point, I had directed some plays before, but I had never directed and adapted. I had never written a play before. So one day I was just home behind my desk, nothing on, just sitting there, just staring into space, really. And I saw a girl on stage. She was actually standing on stage down center. I kind of shook my head and I don't know what's going on. What is this? So I just kept, staring into La La Land, doing a little something here and there. And the vision came back. And I'm like, what is this? I shook my head again because I didn't understand it. And she came back. At that point, I just turned around to my computer and started typing. Never thought I was getting ready to type a play that morning when I got up. I sat there for 6 hours without eating, without drinking, without doing anything. And when I stopped, I had written so many scenes and I sat back and I said, what is this? And it was like speaking to me right then, this is your gift. That it just really blew my mind. I sat there all day for 6 hours. I'll never forget it. And I'm like, what just happened? This is your gift. So since then, Down Central was my very first play. And like you said, you never get too old. This happened in 2014. 2014. So with that being said, the storyline, I don't know where the storyline came from. Like I said, I just started typing. It was nothing planned. I just started typing. I guess God wanted to reveal some things that should be seen and talked about. And it just happened. The characters just.
I love that because that speaks to just being available to the Holy Spirit, basically, just being available and allowing him to speak through you. I'm gonna have to come to Atlanta just to come to the play. So yeah. Because that sounds like really good. I'm there once a month anyway, so I got to get my timing together so that I am there when the play is going forth. But that is a powerful story for our lionesses to hear, because so often we think we have no talent, we think that we have nothing to offer, and the fact that you were simply a willing vessel.
Correct.
To sit for 6 hours and just let God just download into you. That's amazing. I love that.
When I tell people that, they're like, I said, no, you don't understand. I didn't wake up that morning saying I was going to write a play. Trust me, I didn't. That was the last thing on my mind. Not at all. It just happened. It just literally happened.
And now it is expanded from within the four walls. This is something that Apostle has been really focusing on, is getting the leaders and ministers and even the congregation out of the four walls of the church.
Yes.
Because he calls this God's school. You come, you learn, you get built up, but then that's to push you out so that you go forth and do what you were created to do. So I love that. How was the reception of all of the different nuances received in the church, and what are you expecting to be different now that you'll have a much broader audience?
Exactly. So the vision is, once you go beyond the walls, you can't get people in the walls unless you go beyond the walls.
Absolutely.
That's the key.
I
So
like that. I got to write that down. You can't get people within the walls unless you go beyond the walls, right?
That's a good one.
Okay.
I mean, that's just when I presented the idea to the ministry, they were on, because it was our summer production. So that's when I did it. But now I kept saying, God, I want to do this play again. I want to do this play again. But I know the characters, the scene changes. It was my first play, so a lot of things I didn't know not to do. So I had to work those things out. So since
it was training.
Yeah, since I work those things, I need to take this beyond the walls of the church. I just have to, because it's a message here for that. So it was a challenge at first because I didn't know how I was going to pull it together with all the scene changes. So once I wrapped my mind around that and said, just prayed about it, help me, what to do, how can I do it? And plus the resources. The resources is the main thing as well. And it's like, God, you don't understand. I just got presented a lump sum of money. And I'm like, what is this? Here's your money for the play.
Wow.
Got a lump sum of money in the mail. It was, well, not in the mail, in my account.
Yeah.
I just retired. So when I applied for my Social Security, not knowing I was going to get a lump sum. And I'm like, what is this? I got enough money, enough resources to put on the play. But I was just going to step out there. I was going to just use my savings, whatever I had to do. I said, God, I'm going to do this. He said, I got you. You don't have to use that. I got you.
Yeah.
Just like that. And just came.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so faith is one of the main currencies of heaven. All right. You know, obviously, if the streets are made of gold and all of the gates are jewels and diamonds and pearls and all of that, he don't need your money, right?
Right.
Okay. You know, but faith is our currency. And if we step out, like you said, you were just going to step out there with what you had. And God said, I got you.
I got you. That's what he said. What is this? I got you.
I love it. I love it. When I got into ministry way back in 1991, like a long time ago. But I remember saying to God, I never want ministry. I never want to be dependent on ministry to take care of me. I said it then because I had seen too many people of God out there and claiming, if you don't give, I can't do.
That's right.
And when I would hear that, I would always think to myself, well, how can that be? Okay, because if God told you, how is it that you can't do unless the people do?
Right.
You understand that. And I made that declaration to God then, 30 some years ago. I promise you, everything that God has ever called me to do, I could have zeros hitting on zeros in the bank account, okay? Like double nothing, all right? But he would provide every step of the way.
Every time.
God will give you provision for his vision.
Yes.
If you say yes, he'll fund it.
That's right. Every time.
Every time. I'm a witness. I'm a witness. This is awesome. Like I said, all the courses, it just happened. And I prayed about the care. I didn't hold auditions like Anthony. I knew I had worked with Anthony, not directly, but indirectly. So I knew Anthony was that character.
See,
I had worked with Tommy Elise since 2010. I knew Tommy Elise was that character. Carson, I knew his personality. I knew he was Chris. I knew that.
Yeah. Strategic. I say this very, very often. God is the most strategic entity you will ever meet. Ever. Okay. He leaves nothing to chance. It's like we be so worried about things, and I'm thinking, do you think God's sitting up there going, well, did you see that? I didn't know that was gonna happen. How should I deal with that?
Right.
Somehow I don't think so. Okay. He is so strategic in everything. And
Right.
so strategically, like Tommy has been training all of her life for this moment, because I believe just in hearing and talking to Dorothy about the play, because that's one of your biggest fan leaders, if you didn't know. Okay. Just how amazing it is and it's going to be and what have you. I just believe that God is breathing on the gift that he placed in you to set the stage for you, so to speak. Because as Dorothy said, this is just the beginning. This is not your first, but it definitely is not your last.
That's
Right.
right.
And I just feel that he's just setting the stage. I was sharing with I'm actually in a shut-in at my church right now. And I was sharing with somebody earlier, and I was like, we in the body of Christ are in a season of transition in the spirit if we can tap into it.
That's right.
God is doing something right about here and now. And if we don't get so caught up, as Timothy told us, not to get so concerned about the affairs of this world that you miss pleasing the one that called you to be a good soldier. If you do not get so caught up in that and you allow God to be God as he is,
That's right.
there's no stopping us.
As you said earlier, Colette, that our faith is our currency. Okay. And if God has called you to it, he knows that it requires currency. He knows that it requires movement. So when you are obedient and you step out in faith and do what he has called you to do, every opportunity is preparation for the greater. He's putting you in a place for the greater things that's happening. And you've seen this, Maxine. You've grown from play to play to play to place. This is not your first time being in the theater.
Right.
Let's make that clear. Even though you've been in the church, you've done play after play, but this is not your very first time being in a theater. You're going in a theater again, and the theaters are going to get greater. The audience are going to get full, so let's sell this thing out, let them see what God is doing. Your life is a testimony. You're an author, not just one time, 2 times, 3 times. You've spoken to all different audiences, children, adults. Your latest book, I believe, is Testimonies. And you got testimonies just unfolding and within that book. You're not just a playwright.
Right.
You're also a poet. Let the people know that about what they're getting. They're getting a gift that has been imparted to you and downloaded from heaven on high. And they need to come out and see what God has done and take advantage of it. So I want to encourage people to come out and see the extraordinary talent of Maxine Williams Wright. So we're going to do all we can to fill the seats and celebrate this creative force that we find in Maxine Williams Wright. We're just getting started.
We're just getting started. And if I could piggyback on that too, that the one of the many amazing things about Maxine and her talent, as she was sitting there sharing how this was just being downloaded into her spirit, that she hadn't planned on writing a play that day. As I was reading that play and I was at the initial table read, as Anthony was saying, okay, she'd been in my house, because he could, he could relate, right? Carson and Tommy can relate to the characters that they are portraying. As a retired high school counselor of almost 20 years, when I have a student that comes in, I have a Lisa that comes in my office, or a Chris or a Diana or a Cheryl in the past that have shared with me, or maybe they've been sent down by an administrator for a disciplinary action. As I start peeling back the layers, I see what the situation is, or what situation, each and every one of the situations that the young people in the play are in, I have experienced in real life in the high school setting. On the flip side, in communicating with the parents and trying to bring healing and closure and resolution, you gain an understanding of what is going on in the household. So as a school counselor, sometimes you find yourself in the midst of both sides, both what's going on in the schoolhouse, so to speak, and both what's going on in the home and trying to bring some resolution to this. So, as Dorothy was saying, and as we all were saying, the compilation of this cast and those of us who are behind the scene is orchestrated from above, because each of us are coming to the table. Some of us, unbeknownst to Maxine, coming to the table with a frame of reference that we can relate authentically to. These situations and these circumstances are authentic. They're not fairy tale type stories. These are situations and circumstances that the audience members will be able to relate to, but also some of them may be in the midst of these situations. They will possibly come away with a resolution, whatever the situation is that they are dealing with now. So it really is an opportunity to experience real life situations with a bit of humor on the stage as well, and to really, really be blessed not only by the production, but also blessed by Maxine's testimony and her journey to where it is that she is today with bringing this production to the stage.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's awesome. I applaud you, number one, for working with the children for so long. Because truly, I know you are anointed.
Yes.
But I also find it very fascinating that just hearing about the storyline of the play, that you would be able to add, as you just said, counsel from both sides of the table.
Yes.
You know? Seriously, it's like listening to Carson. I'm wishing maybe I'll bring my 20-year-old with me, because he did not finish school. Let me just be transparent, and I'm trying to get him out of his own way right now. Okay, he has a 9-month-old baby, and it's like, what are you doing, sir? So I'm thinking, even what Carson was showing, I need to bring him to Atlanta so he can sit in the audience and figure out how to get out of his own way. But I'm just in listening to this, I have no doubt in my mind that it will be evangelistic.
Yes.
Yes.
People will come because they're coming to a play, but that the Spirit of the living God will be able to speak to them in the midst of the play.
That's right.
And one more thing, if I could say, Dr. Collette, it reminds me of something. Part of the theme of the play reminds me of something that I used to say to my students all the time. When you make a choice, God gives us free will. And when you make a choice, I would tell my students, you inherit the consequence, be it positive or negative, known or unknown, of that choice. And therefore, once you've made that choice, you will have to coexist with that choice. Be it positive, negative, known, or unknown. Because sometimes I'd have a student come back and say, well, if I had known that, I wouldn't have done A, B, C, or D. Again, when you make a choice, you inherit the consequence of those choices. And I think that this play really demonstrates free will, choices, the characters and the choices that they make, and the result of those choices, and how ultimately, with the divine intervention, that these characters come through on their respective journeys as these the consequences, be they positive or negative, of these choices are unfolding, and where we will see them ultimately wind up at the end of the production. So definitely want to encourage your audience, those who are here in the Atlanta area, and even those who can get on a plane and come to Atlanta.
Hey.
Make it a weekend. Yes, make it a weekend.
Yes.
Plenty of time. Come visit your family, your friends, and make it a weekend event.
That's right.
So that is awesome. I love that. Teresa, I'm gonna put you on the spot because I just had a download. So kind of explain what you are experiencing in your world as you are helping to facilitate someone else's vision? How is that impacting your vision?
I don't know if necessarily impacting. I just take her vision and make sure it is followed through. Because of being with individuals, everybody has their way of doing things. But being that she is the director, I just take her vision and make sure it is followed. Like one of the characters is actually an artist of mine, and we do stuff outside of Maxine just to make sure that she is in line of what Maxine's vision is.
Gotcha.
So it is always about her vision, and I do love the fact that Maxine allows the actors to be creative too, but at the end of the day, we still got to follow her vision. So,
that's important.
Yeah,
I like
it's
that.
very important.
That's important. So Tommy, we've got like 5 minutes left in the show. So just take a few moments and speak to the youth that may be thinking about pursuing their passions in life, be it acting or whatever. How have you been able to focus to stay on the proper path of pursuing yours?
Oh, that's a great question. Honestly, I have just kept a village around me that holds me accountable to my word, because while, yes, I do love doing this, I am still a teenager. So I would like to go off and have fun and do other things and, prioritize not necessarily the wrong things, but not the things that should be prioritized first. So just having a village around me has just always kept me solid. Having people that believe in me, and I have to believe in myself. That's really the biggest thing, because people can believe in you all day. People can tell you everything, but until it gets in your brain that this is what you want to do and you can do it, then nothing will happen. So I just, please believe in yourself, because there are so many struggles. There are so many things that people go through. Me, myself, I'm a sickle cell patient. So for those of you who don't know what that is, it is a blood disorder that deals with your hemoglobin. And it also means that some of our cells are crescent moon shaped. Other cells are round, so they just kind of get blocked up in a certain area of your veins, and wherever that is, it hurts. So this could also contribute to frequent hospital visits that just kind of, it's very mentally draining on top of the physically draining part. It makes you feel like you can't really do much, because after I get out the hospital, I have to catch up. I have to catch up with everybody else. And I also have to learn the content, at least in school. I have to catch up and have to learn the content that we're currently learning simultaneously. And that's very stressful. And, you can lose faith in yourself, and you can be like, am I even equipped for this? Like, what am I doing here? Like, do I really want to do this anymore? But just have faith in yourself, have faith in God, and lean on people, because that's very important. Learning to ask for help is definitely something that I've learned over the years as well, with just kind of staying focused and prepared. Also networking, just asking questions to anybody, always learning, just staying interested in it, really, because I know that people my age, we don't exactly know what we want to do. And I'm in a place where I know what I want to do. It just scares me that I don't know how to do it. So just ask questions, always be yourself, always be your most authentic self, and just stay curious. That's what I'm trying to get at. Stay curious.
I love it. I applaud you, young lady. That's amazing.
That was beautifully
said. Amazing. Awesome. Thank you. Well, Maxine, you got 70 seconds. Where's the show? When is the show? How do we get tickets to the show?
The show is one day only. It's Saturday, July the 12th. It's going to be at the Strand Theater in Marietta. We have a 3 o'clock and a 7 o'clock show. You can actually purchase tickets at the box office. Let me give you the number for the box office. Let's see here. Where is it? The box office is 770-293-0080. Also, we do have a link, but I can't give you the link. It's so long, but just call the box office and the box office will set it up, and you will avoid also online fees going through the box office.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, it has been an extreme pleasure to host all of you today. Thank you so much for showing up for my Lionesses and for just pouring in. Tommy, you're an incredible young lady. I just need to tell you that, for real, for
Thank
real.
you. I appreciate it.
Maxine, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person because I'm gonna come to the show. Seriously.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We're out of time, but I thank you guys. I am so excited for what God is doing in each and every one of your lives. And just, keep pressing. Keep pressing. All right.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.